What is up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Across the Pitch. Guys, we're almost there. Just two more games to close out the disastrous 2025 season that Atlanta United has had. Now, most clubs are enjoying an international break before decision day, but the Five Stripes have a makeup game at Inter Miami after having to postpone it because of Miami's Club World Cup run this summer. So we're going to get into this game and what we can expect. And for that, I have my good friend Kris from the Battered Herons. Kris, what's going on, man?
Everything good. We're here, Higita, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
You're ready for it. I'm not sure Atlanta United fans are ready for it. I think we've kind of been out of it for a bit ever since elimination was confirmed. So as Atlanta fans will know, there's nothing really riding on this game for Atlanta except for maybe I guess trying to avoid the wooden spoon, but that's not a huge thing to play for. But
Yeah.
Miami is playing for stuff, right? This is a game that's more important for Miami. Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, this game is important in so many ways. It's just the simple fact that there's been so much that we left out on, like, the CCC, we didn't win that. There was just too many expectations this year. We also missed out on the Leagues Cup, Club World Cup. We didn't expect to go too far. We have Busquets, who clearly announced his retirement, and then Jordi Alba signs a contract 5 months ago and says, I'm going to take that back real quick. I'm retiring with this guy. And so it's kind of a weird thing that's going on right now. We missed out on the supporter shield, even though I finally got my season ticket supporter shield back there. But like, it's been kind of faily a little bit this year. So like we need to go as high as possible just to have some sort of decent feeling going into the playoffs.
So that's what I kind of wanted to ask you now. You mentioned all these competitions that Miami has been in. CONCACAF Champions Cup, you don't get it. Leagues Cup, you get to the final and then a heartbreaking loss to Seattle. And then obviously you can't win the Shield. So the only thing that you're playing now for is MLS Cup. So my question to you is 2025 a failure if you don't win MLS Cup?
Oh, 1,000 and billion%, a billion, trillion, million, if that even can be created as a number. If we don't win MLS Cup, I think the entire Chase Stadium needs to burn down to the ground. I mean, it's like I was saying, Gita, like at the end of the day, there was just so much expected. Last year, we had the Supporter Shield, and then we won the Leagues Cup the year prior. It felt like we were still kind of short. Obviously, you guys destroyed us last year in the playoffs, walking in as a wild card. Brad Guzan plays the time of his life. And then this year, we missed out on so many opportunities. Like the CCC, to me, was supposed to be a handover. Like the run that we were to have for that tournament was supposed to be ours. And we got destroyed by Vancouver. So like it just didn't pan out. It hasn't. And if we don't win the MLS Cup, like people are kind of starting to think, is Messi going to resign?
Good question. I mean, two of his best buddies are now retiring, and we'll get into that in a minute. But Messi also, he's what, 38, 39 at this point? 39?
Somewhere around there. Yes. I think he's 38, turning 39, I believe.
Yeah, he doesn't have all that many years of professional soccer left, to be honest. It seems like he's going to spend the rest of them at Miami, but the question
Yeah.
is, when does he retire? I think at the bare minimum, he plays up until the World Cup, but after that, I mean, it's kind of open. But what are your thoughts on that and his situation?
So, I mean, the idea is we're going to be opening up the new stadium in Miami proper next year. So we're moving away from Broward County and we're going to be going back. Well, not going back, but actually going to Miami. And it's a beautiful stadium from what I see as far as like the renderings and everything. And the idea is that he is going to be front and center there to open up the stadium, right? I mean, there's talks that he's going to be some sort of like an owner with a percentage. I don't know. I haven't seen anything like that, but I mean, look, Messi can own all of MLS if he wants to, but the bottom line is there's talks that he's supposed to be resigning. It's just a lot of numbers to wheel and deal in terms of to make the contract, I guess, work out. And but again, if you look at some of the feed from last game where Sergio Busquets was retiring, Messi looked exhausted, and I'm pretty sure he knew Busquets. Well, obviously he's retiring. He knew probably Jordi Alba was retiring. Literally cried in like a response post, saying, "I'm gonna miss Jordi Alba. I'm gonna miss you. Who am I gonna get balls from the left side?" It just things aren't looking really positive for the future.
That's the thing, right? Messi's inevitably going to retire at some point soon. Luis Suarez is also, closer to retirement than anything. So it's kind of, this era of kind of this Barca boy, uh, you know,
Yeah.
quartet. They're kind of phasing out. So now the question is, how does Miami replace the impact that these players have made?
Well, and it's a weird thing, right? Like everybody here kind of doesn't care if Luis Suarez resigns or not, or retires. They kind of the fan base here has kind of like had it with him, but we have nobody at striker behind him. Like Alan Obando, we got from Atletico Madrid. He's been like in a hospital bed since he got here. We have no striker behind him that can clearly take that position from him. Like even Luis Suarez at his worst is better than the majority of whatever striker you put in his place. He has stated that he wants to stay until Messi retires. Now, will he get that benefit? I don't know. He's not going to get a DP contract. It's just worrisome because you have Jordi Alba, who everyone in the fan base expected to be here longer term, probably even longer than Messi, to be honest, to kind of pull the rug from under everyone and say, I think this is it for me.
Yeah, I mean, signing a contract, what was it, 5 months ago?
Yes.
Uh, yeah, that's a big deal to kind of sign that, and then
Huge.
literally like a week or two after Busquets announces to just say, no, I'm actually I'm out now. Like
Yes.
that is a wild thing to do, and I think because Jordi Alba, he contributes a lot to what Miami does. He combines well with Messi especially, and so that's a player that y'all are definitely going to miss. It's going to be hard to replace someone like him for sure.
It's weird to say this, and if any Messi fans watch the show, I'm sorry, but like Jordi Alba consistently since he got here has probably been the biggest contributor. He hasn't missed many games. He plays full 90 all the time. Like this year, when it comes to recency bias, Messi played a lot this year. But last year, he missed a lot of games. Like we were kind of like banking on Julian Gressel carrying us for 9 games with 9 or 10 goal contributions. So we did pretty decently without. I'm not saying that we don't want Messi, but at the same time, people got to kind of give Jordi Alba his flowers. Like Jordi Alba consistently has put out nothing but great play in a pink uniform.
So now that we're on this topic of Busi and Alba retiring, right before they got to Miami, even they were big, world class players with loads of achievement. But uh,
Yeah.
talk to me and kind of tell our viewers a little bit about their impact as Inter Miami players.
So first, I guess I'll start with Sergio Busquets. I mean, Busquets, he's just a mind, right? Like the kind of player that he is, creatively wise, and seeing things happen before they actually happen, making crisp passes from a further distance, and actually making like line splitting passes. Like you're not going to find that sort of creativity in just anybody, much less a player, playing in the MLS. Now, that is something that you're getting, but at the same time, that his aging is affecting him physically. He's not playing the best defense. He's kind of a risk when it comes to on the defensive side, right? Offensively, okay, you have a great ball handler, you have a great passer, but defensively, he's kind of become sort of a liability. So I think that the fan base is kind of okay with Sergio Busquets retiring. And so I think it's a little bit more acceptable. Now, running to Jordi Alba, people watch him and they watch his games, and you don't look at that and say, this guy's on the decline. You look at that and say, holy moly, he's still contributing at a pretty huge level. And from the left back position, where you're legitimately running probably more than many on the pitch, to have that kind of impact offensively and still be able to kind of run back and make some sort of a contribution defensively, it's something that it's gonna hurt us to miss in the next year, because it was, one, a very unexpected decision that he made, and number two, whatever you find is not necessarily gonna fit the bill when it comes to that position. And then, like I said, with Luis Suarez, the fan base can care less, and they think getting rid of him is going to be a better deal for us anyway.
Really?
Yes, because it's weird. This year he hasn't scored that many goals. So you look at a striker and you think to yourself, well, I kind of want goals. But mind you, he has, I think, one of, if not like, I think he's second in assists. So in terms of like being creative and creating for others, Luis Suarez has a ton of goal contributions. Like, anyone that says Luis Suarez needs to go, they need to go like to hell in a handbasket immediately. And because they don't know what they're talking about. So Luis Suarez, to me, I think if we can't find a serviceable replacement, then it's not worth letting him go. And with the shenanigans he pulled this year, I think we could sign him to like some tam gam, thank you, ma'am contract. And I think he'll take that if he could just play with Messi.
Yeah. I mean, that's all assuming that he doesn't suddenly retire at the end of the season as well, right?
Yeah. And then I guess we'll include Rodrigo de Paul, who, aside from like a half a game, he's looked very trash baggy. Rodrigo de Paul, to me, has been a complete and utter failure from the moment that he stepped into the MLS until now. It could be a little bit that Mascherano is placing him at the wing instead of in the middle, because naturally he fits better in the middle. But I'm tired of that excuse. He's played in the middle, and his contribution hasn't been that great. You're talking about a guy that played in Atletico Madrid, has a freaking gold rare card in FIFA, and you're going to come over here into the MLS and you're not going to perform like to what's expected, and you're like closer to your prime than the other four guys. Like, that's wild to me. Rodrigo de Paul, to me, has been like complete failure.
Man, I have not been paying attention to Inter Miami then, because I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad, that the signing had gone that bad.
You and the funny thing is, it's a loan, and he essentially is going to be taking Sergio Busquets' contract as a DP.
Ooh.
So the worst part is like, if he decides to stay, then I mean, he's going to be a DP. There's no way he's going to ask for anything less. And if he doesn't perform well, like in the last couple games or in the playoffs, like, the fan base is already like out on him.
Damn.
I mean, there's a lot of people that support Rodrigo de Paul, and they're like, oh, you got to give him some time. It's the MLS, it's physical, all that other nonsense. But like, this is a guy from La Liga. Like, you just played with Atletico Madrid. Like, you're sort of top tier here. You know what I mean? And you come into the MLS where people can say, you know, the opposition isn't as great, but you still got good players here in the MLS. You kind of got to respect it. That's another thing that a lot of people say about Rodrigo de Paul, is that they could tell that he just came and kind of had like the Gonzalo Higuain deal, where he just thinks he could just run around the pitch with a cigar in his mouth. And I think that I think that there's a little bit of reality hitting him, a reality check. And if he doesn't step up, then the fan base is just completely sold on him.
Yeah, because I mean, he's 31. I mean, he's not that old. He should, in theory, still have a few good seasons of soccer left in him, right?
Yeah, so it's a disaster.
And when I saw the signing at first, I'm like, oh my God, Miami is going to just have a boss midfield for the rest of the season. Like, before Busquets' retirement was in the picture or anything, like this end of the season, they're going to boss games because they're going to have
Yes.
a very, very strong midfield. And now I'm kind of surprised that you're telling me this, because I honestly I expected, like you, that he would be better. Now there is a thing, right, where a lot of players, if they come in the middle of the summer, right, a lot of
Yeah.
players come to MLS and they don't immediately hit the ground running.
Yeah.
That might be the case with DePaul. Maybe with a full season, right, his first full season in MLS, maybe you see some improvement. But man, it's crazy to me that it sounds like Miami fans are kind of out on him.
Well, it's a weird place to sit in, right? Because you have Mascherano, who's not an experienced coach, kind of playing players at positions that don't favor them. Like we have Telasco Segovia, who he throws at the wing, and he's more of an 8, maybe a 10. He has Baltasar Rodriguez, he throws him on the wing, and he's more of like a midfield guy. He could work at the wing, but you got Rodrigo De Paul, he's throwing at the wing, and he's not a wing, he's a midfield guy, right? So you have all of that kind of happening. And like the worst part for me in terms of like when I cover this team is Yannick Bright. This guy gets paid like $80,000. Like this guy earns a Happy Meal per month as a paycheck. Okay. This guy lives in a room in one of the worst neighborhoods in Miami, Florida. And he's out there, one of the most impactful players on this team. Like I've said it before, we didn't win against Atlanta because of the simple fact that Yannick Bright got injured. Because the first game and a half, Yannick Bright was playing, and then he got injured, and that was our best success. After the second half of the second game and the third game, no Yannick Bright, no party. Everybody likes to say no Messi, no party. No, Yannick Bright was the reason we lost to Atlanta and Braguzan. But Yannick Bright was the key. And now he's still playing out of his mind. And the worst part is that since we got Rodrigo De Paul, what are you going to do? You're going to sit Rodrigo De Paul and put in
He
Yannick
can't bench
Bright?
Rodrigo De Paul, bro.
Right? Okay. All right. Okay. So then let's think about it. You're going to sit down Busquets, who's playing less than? No way. So what happens? You got Yannick Bright, who's probably been the most productive player in the midfield, sitting on the pine, comes in at the 70th minute. And then, of course, like you get a little bit of contribution, but at that point, you might be behind in games. Yannick Bright's not like an offensive juggernaut. He's out here to clothesline people with his legs. So, the Rodrigo De Paul thing has kind of like thrown a fork into everything, and it's kind of like just getting annoying at this point.
So, kind of closing this subject of Rodrigo De Paul and Miami's DP situation, right?
Yeah.
Putting this together with Busquets and Alba retiring, right? It kind of feels like this is the transition, right, between one. I'm going to call them the Fantastic Four for Miami, because
Yes.
that's what they are. Kind of, it's kind of the transition from that to like a new generation, right? And it kind of seems like Rodrigo De Paul and maybe Sergio Reguilon is what the rumors are. Like that's going to be the new generation. Do you think that they'll be able to fill Busquets and Alba's shoes?
So, look, you would think that with the way I've been talking, that Miami is a complete dumpster fire and that there's nothing to be hopeful for. I mean, there is always something to be hopeful for, especially when you have Messi. I think the issue was just a couple of unexpected changes. And you're talking about essentially a transition from the Barca 4 to be determined, because Regilon or Regillon, he might come and Rodrigo De Paul is pitted to be a side with Messi, which in the beginning it sounded super sexy. It hasn't panned out just yet, and it may, because you have Sergio Busquets that's not going to be there. You'll have Yannick Bright, who's more of like an actual defensive midfielder. So maybe El Motocito, Rodrigo De Paul, who's been a blown motor, can actually do something. I think that there's a lot of promise to come. The problem is that I don't believe Regillon is going to fill in Jordi Alba's shoes. I do believe Rodrigo De Paul has the capability. But as far as Regillon, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know too much about him. I know that he's a little bit more in his prime. I mean, what kind of chemistry does he have with Messi, right? Like he played for Real Madrid, he played for some other team there. Like I don't know how that's going to pan out. We're talking about in the last 2.5 years, Messi has had it the most comfortable with his buddies. It's slowly growing to a point where his buddies are not going to be there, and it's just a couple guys with names. And like now you got to pit them with people that just have names. They're not like friends. They're not Messi and friends. They're Messi and associates.
Sounds like a law firm.
Yeah, it does.
Man, that is a challenge though. But then again, at one point, Messi is also phasing out, and so that's going to be interesting though, is to see how Miami kind of deals with this new future that they're going to have this new age post Messi.
Yeah.
I have to ask you about Masche, Javier Mascherano. His first full season is almost done, right? The regular season's coming to a close. We talked about all these tournaments, these cups that Miami couldn't win. Where do you stand on like evaluating Masche right now, his first season?
It's kind of unfortunate because this is Javier Mascherano's like first opportunity as like a club manager, right? And he came essentially because he was friends and he played with Messi, right? But like he applied for the team like a couple years back when we started. So he wanted to be a manager here. We just didn't take him at that point. And so I think the idea was always there. And I think the problem is that when he came in, like the stakes are just so high. Like you come into a team and you got the Fantastic Four and then a bunch of to be determined in the future. Like the managers or the owners, they're expecting everything. And if you don't bring a slice of everything to the owners, like I can only imagine what these owners are saying behind closed doors. He hasn't been the best in terms of like tactician. And you would think that a defensive coach who was a defensive player would have a better defensive strategy. And this year, we have been worse defensively than we were last year. So that's kind of sucky. And we scored more goals last year than we did this year. And that's with Messi playing more games this year. Like the math doesn't math. And then to top it off, you have a lot of stuff happening in the back office. Like just recently, we found out Messi's football godfather is like the manager, like the director of sporting something. I don't even know who that guy is. I don't even know what a soccer godfather is. I don't even know why people are calling him that. But at the end of
like
the
his
day,
official title, soccer godfather.
He has it somewhere on a business card. I can tell you that for sure. But what bothers me is a lot of those decisions that are made, getting rid of Benjamin Cremacchi, getting rid of Redondo, getting rid of Robert Taylor, Julian Gressel, so many other players, Campana. You're talking about so many players that have gotten rid of since last year and this year. And all of a sudden, now we only get Rodrigo de Paul, some Argentinian kid named Silvetti, who came on, was a flash in the pan, looked amazing, and said, I got to go to do U20s in Argentina. I'll be back in a month. So he hasn't been back. He's coming back in the playoffs, hopefully in good condition. But it's just a lot of other things swirling there. And the expectancy of Mascherano is, I don't care, I need trophies. Like the Mas brothers, Jorge Mas specifically, came out in an interview and said, we're expecting trophies, multiple. And so far we have big old goose egg. Like that's not cool. So Mascherano, I think he's been unfortunately given a very hard seat to sit in. And it's funny that you asked that because I asked some of the people in the podcast yesterday if Mascherano wins, if we win the MLS Cup, is his job saved? And I think it may be. And I don't think he deserves it. But I think he may save his job if we get the MLS Cup.
Oh, okay. So are we talking about like if Miami doesn't win MLS Cup, is he Probably gone?
Oh,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, that guy is bagging groceries at your nearest grocery store if we don't win the MLS Cup. Like, he's going back to Argentina to fail to coach the U20 Argentinians, where he wasn't even doing that good at the same time as well. So he's not going to make it if we don't win MLS Cup. If we don't MLS Cup, he's getting fired like the same night.
Damn.
Guarantee it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was not aware that that's how things were in Miami, but hey, I mean, when you have that roster, right? When you have those players, the expectations are obviously going to be higher for a club with the ambitions that Miami has. So it makes sense. It's just that is huge. It's like you either win a trophy or you're out. Like that's brutal, but that's what this business is, right?
Well, and you got to think of it. It's like you said, Gita, at the end of the day, like if you have Messi, Busquets, Jordi Alba, Luis Suarez, you bring in Rodrigo de Paul, that's 5 guys. 5 of your 10 on the pitch, aside from the goal. Like the goalie, don't even count him. Which, by the way, we end up getting rid of Calendar and we bring in some old guy, Ustadi, who's like completely about to retire like in 5 minutes. But whatever. The 10 field players, you have 5 of the 10 being these big names. And then you have other supporting casts that have been helpful in the progression. At the same time, like, I'm not saying that a janitor can coach this team, but at the same time, like if you kind of just place people in the right spaces, I think you should be successful.
I think I know who y'all need. Y'all need Rob Valentino. Y'all need him to come in and give you some of that FEA, right?
Probably. I mean, look, Tata has been out there flirting ever since he did an interview with LAFC. I don't know how true that is, but I don't think who knows? He might come back to Miami the moment that they ship Mascherano out.
What a story that would be.
Yes.
But the first story that we have is this game on Saturday. You gave me your predicted 11. Here it is. Obviously, several important players missing due to international duty. Lionel Messi and Rodrigo de Paul among them. But walk me through this lineup and highlight some players that we need to look out for.
Okay, so here's the deal. People out for their country is going to be Messi. You have Noah Allen for Greece. You have Ian Frey for Jamaica. You have who else do we have here? Telasco Segovia for Venezuela, who I don't understand why he did that. Like, Venezuela is completely out. They're playing, pickleball games at this point. Fafa for Haiti. And aside from that, you're talking about a lot of players that can be able to fill in those spaces. And then Rodrigo de Paul, he's out with Argentina as well. Now, as far as this lineup goes, this is the lineup assuming that Messi plays. What I have heard is that on Friday, Messi, who is supposed to be playing against Venezuela, might not be playing. That is what I've been hearing. Now, the games against Venezuela and against Puerto Rico are here in Florida. One is going to be at the Hard Rock Stadium against Venezuela, which is Friday, and the other one's going to be Tuesday against Puerto Rico. So if he doesn't play against Venezuela, there is actually a possibility that he can play this game. Now, I don't know about Rodrigo de Paul because he may be playing, but Messi for sure can actually play this game if he doesn't play against Venezuela. So that's one thing to watch out for on Friday. Now, the reason I sent this is just assuming that none of the people that left are coming back in time. So on the bottom, we got Oscar Ustadi, who's going to be in goal the whole time. Jordi Alba, left back, of course. And then Marcelo Wegan, he's going to be filling in for Ian Frey, who's out with Jamaica. And then you got Gonzalo Lujan and Tomas Aviles. The reason I picked those two to start at center back is because you have Noah Allen, who's been fantastic, going to be playing for Greece. And then Falcon, I thought maybe he needs some rest. He's been playing a lot lately. Now, in the midfield, Sergio Busquets and Yannick Bright have always been the double pivot, considering that Rodrigo de Paul's not playing. And then in the middle, above them, you got three. You got Baltasar Rodriguez, who's playing like a left wing. Tadeo Ende playing like a right wing. Now, Santiago Morales, the reason that I put him there is because there's no other offensive creator that we have on the bench that can fill in that space other than him. So I'm hopeful because he is a very young player. He's actually the son of Javi Morales, who was like a babysitter coach for us in between Phil Neville and Tata Martino. And Santi Morales is actually a pretty creative player, very good, very quick on his feet, and a great passer. And then you got Luis Suarez up playing at the 9 position, which nobody else is going to play that. Tadeo Allende is a guy that a lot of fans are very hot and cold about. He's got one trick in his fanny pack. He likes to make line breaking plays and get behind the defense. The only problem is that he plays like he has Timberlands on his feet, so his touch isn't the greatest. But when he scores goals, he scores them. In the last 2 games, he's been scoring goals, so everybody's kind of happy for now. And Baltasar Rodriguez is a guy that just came back from injury. He's a super creative player, been working well with Messi, and he can blast it from anywhere on the pitch. So those are guys that I guess you'd have to look out for when it comes to the game this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Baltasar's golazo against DC. I remember that. That
Yes.
was a wild hit.
Yes.
So obviously, it's interesting to see kind of that potential that he has for
Yeah.
Miami, and I think from a Miami perspective, it's good that he's going to get these minutes in MLS, and he'll continue to develop, and he'll probably get more minutes as well during the playoffs. I'm assuming. I think he's gotten more minutes recently, hasn't he?
Yes, recently he's gotten a couple more. He's gotten more minutes. Telasco Segovia, who typically plays at that position, like I said, he's not necessarily a winger, but I think just off of skill they put him there, and because Baltasar was out, there was no competition. I've been saying this in the other show. Baltasar and Telasco Segovia, I feel like at the left wing has been the most competitive position throughout this season, especially in the recent weeks, because Segovia can contribute. But the thing is, you got to get him like rolling. Like he's a better player to start. Baltasar's a better player to bring off the bench. He's more of a spark. When you bring Telasco Segovia off the bench, he's more of like a slow roller. Like you got to get him in shape and in form. Then you start to see some really nice quality come out of him. So I think because of the simple fact that Baltasar's back from his injury, like for good, he's just been able to kind of capitalize on his appearances.
What would you say in this lineup is like the main weakness of this Inter Miami side that could be playing on Saturday? What can Atlanta expose to get 3 points?
Well, if Atlanta can expose Gonzalo Lujan and Tomas Aviles, because the last team to expose them was Chicago, and Chicago destroyed us 5-3. I mean, we were leaking goals through those 2 guys. Gonzalo Lujan is, I mean, he's a backup center back for a reason. He is just a disaster. We call him the Swiss Army knife because it seems like he wants to do everything. He just sucks at it. And then you got Tomas Aviles, who literally lives with a yellow card in his pocket. He actually was like our feature center back last year, played every game, was one of the most consistent players when he wasn't out with a yellow card accumulation or a red card. But he just hasn't had enough playing time to be able to be solid enough. Like Noah Allen and Maxi Falcon have completely taken those positions hostage. The only reason I'm saying that they're going to get it is because I feel like with the team against Atlanta, we're not going to need so much out of them. But at the same time, because of the center backs needing a little bit of rest.
Yeah, and again, this is a weekend Atlanta, so probably
Yeah.
won't be too hard to keep Atlanta out, but we'll see. So having said that, we're here at the end. It's time for the score predictions. Kris, what you got, man?
So I'm gonna go. I actually in the Spanish program that I did yesterday, I think the prediction I came with was Inter Miami wins 3-2. We won against New England last game 4-1. If we were able to allow a goal from New England, which is a flaming garbage can, I think with your front players, that you guys can be able to score multiple goals, especially with our leaky sort of defense at the center back position. Ustadi is not the most nimble of goalkeepers. So I feel like you guys can be able to catch us at some point, considering also we don't have Messi. So like the link up play isn't going to be there as comfortably. So I do feel like this can be a close-knit game, or that we just end up having 3 goals and then you guys have like a second goal like sometime in the 85th minute, and then it's just game over after that.
Yeah, because again, Atlanta, big absences. Miguel Almiron won't be there. Alexei Moranchuk won't be there. Saba, who loves to score against Miami, won't be there. So maybe Jamal Tiare carries us in this game. I don't know, man. I'm not as optimistic as you are. I think I said 2-0. I said 2-0 Miami, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Kris, where can people find you and some of your work?
Thank you, man, for having me, Igita. Always a pleasure. You're the best. And you guys can be able to find us on the Battered Herons podcast. You can find it on YouTube, on all your audio platforms, Napster, what have you. You can also be able to check us out. We do Battered MLS Fans, where we cover MLS. And if you guys speak a little Spanish, you can go to Las Garzas CF and check us out over there as well.
All right. Well, guys, be sure to check out Kris, the Battered Herons, Battered MLS Fans, all that kind of stuff. They do some awesome work over there. Also, be sure to check out our website, www.scarvesandspikes.com, where you can get all sorts of Atlanta United news, opinion, analysis, everything about the 5 stripes. Be sure to check out the shop. We have hats, T-shirts, hoodies for the cold that's coming, beer glasses, all sorts of cool stuff. And you can also support the show by joining our Patreon. Starting at $1.17 a month, you can get access to exclusive content like interview audio, our mailbags, our unfiltered series, and much more. Also, you get into our Discord, where we talk about Atlanta United, soccer outside MLS, and much, much more. We're building a huge community of soccer fans, and we would love to have y'all join us. And that's going to do it for this episode of Across the Pitch. Kris, thank you so much, man, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.